So we're of course going to spend this video talking about the PRS SE McCarty 594 double cut, but I mean, to be completely honest, and I don't like to start things off this way, but when I first came to pick up this guitar, I did notice something that was pretty serious, so yeah, I'm just gonna show you footage of what actually happened. Yeah, honey, everything's great. The series is going really, really well. Everyone loves my last video. In fact, I don't even think I made a single mistake on that last video. I'm just gonna quickly check the comments and then we can go out, all right? All right, so let's see, what do we have here? So this experiment will feature the McCarty 594. McCarty. In all seriousness, guys, I'm very happy when you point out the silly mistakes that I make. That's how I learn. So if I make any more, please leave them in the comments below so we can improve together. But anyway, welcome back to The Experiment, the series where I explore a single gear category in extreme detail over an extended period of time. All of the guitars we're using for the experiment will be linked below in the SC Experiment playlist. This series is sponsored by PRS, and if you would like to know more information about sponsorship, check out video number 1, linked below. So as always, we're going to start from the headstock and work our way down. I'm going to give you my honest opinion and thoughts about some of the features on this particular instrument. So the first thing that I noticed about this guitar when looking at the headstock is that we have this beautiful orange brownish color, and that is the exact same color as the edges of the burst. So although this is not the same exact one piece of wood for the entire instrument, it does create a very beautiful illusion. And then of course we have these vintage style tuners, and in this case they are not locking. Now, I know for a fact that a lot of people who are into the vintage guitar things don't actually want locking tuners on their instruments, and I know that because I get comments from you guys all the time saying that no, every tuner should not be locking. Okay, fine, I get it. That being said, for me personally, I would like locking tuners on this guitar considering the price. Nonetheless, these tuners work very, very well. They turn very well, and they do have that beautiful vintage aesthetic. As you guys may or may not know, I love the fact that all PRS SE guitars have a truss rod cover with a single screw instead of 2 or 3 screws, and it just makes things a little bit quicker when you go to adjust the truss rod. And then we have a composite nut which was cut perfectly from the factory along with the 10 to 46 strings, so no complaints there whatsoever. Now, as we move down to the neck, we have a lot to talk about because the neck on this guitar is absolutely gorgeous and very, very comfortable. So let's start with what you can obviously see. Of course, we have a rosewood fingerboard, but again, the piece of rosewood that was chosen for this instrument is absolutely lovely. I'm not someone who usually likes to have a pretty fretboard, so to speak. I usually like a really dark ebony that you can barely see any grain in. But for some reason, the beauty of this rosewood has just captured my attention, and I really enjoy that look on this guitar when you look at the rest of the colors, wood colors on this instrument. So the rosewood fingerboard is absolutely lovely. We of course have the traditional PRS birds, and the back of this neck is also really, really attractive. It's a 3-piece neck, and then of course we have a white binding around both sides of the neck, and the binding job is absolutely phenomenal. I couldn't find a single flaw anywhere on the neck. And then we of course have nickel frets. They feel like a jumbo nickel fret, and I find them very comfortable. Of course, the edges are completely perfect. There's not a single sharp fret, even up here on the bass side. So absolutely phenomenal fret ends. And then the leveling was also really, really good. I have no dead spots anywhere on the instrument. Now, this neck does have a gloss finish, and a lot of the other PRS SE guitar necks do have a gloss finish. But for the most part, I don't have an issue with the PRS gloss. You know, occasionally I have to grab my little microfiber cloth and wipe it down after I've played it for a few days. But apart from that, I haven't had any issues with sticking to this particular neck. And of course, the fretboard is not glossed, which is a bigger issue in my opinion. Some of these neck carves are definitely different. For example, the McCarty is definitely different from the Holcomb, which is also very different from the DGT. But it's very difficult to explain the gentle differences in the shape itself. So just go to a store, you can find these guitars everywhere, pick a few up and see if you find them comfortable. I'll just say this, I tend to like necks that air on the slightly thicker side as compared to the slightly thinner side, and none of these necks feel too thin to me, and especially not the McCarty neck. This feels plenty thick for me, but it's not crazy thick like the Miles Kennedy core model, which is very thick. Now, I will say, when I first got the instrument, I noticed that the action was a bit high for my liking. It was definitely still playable, but I like to play with my action very, very low. In fact, I like my action so low that if you pick too hard on the low E string, you'll get a little bit of string buzz. So when I thought about adjusting this guitar, I remembered a video that I recently saw with Music Is When, and it also had Tim Pierce in it.
I would have to lower the action. In fact, I do it right now. I'm just gonna do it.
This man's lowering the action on the fly.
I'm really a freak about low action and adjusting the truss rod so the neck is perfectly straight. A testament to a well-built guitar when you can actually just with your hand lower the action on the fly.
So it's Saturday morning. I'm about to get into my morning practice today and the rest of the week using the McCarty guitar, and it came set up pretty well out of box, but I like my action basically as low as I can get it. So I'm going to try to do the exact same thing, live on camera, no tricks, so let's check it out. Yeah, and these are actually turning, no issue, but I run it, so yeah. So yeah, I just quickly adjusted the wheels. Obviously the tuning is now detuned because I have to retune it, but as you can see, I was able to turn these wheels right with my hand with no issue. So not sure if that's a big deal for you, but I can adjust this easily with just my fingers right out of the box. All right, so I'll just tune up all the other strings and see how it's laying on the guitar. So that was pretty quick, and I have the action now how I like it to have, or how I like it to be. Set up very easily, just did it for you on camera, the entire setup, and I'm gonna start practicing now. I didn't need any type of truss rod adjustment, and ever since then the instrument has been playing absolutely phenomenally well. So in terms of the quality, the fit and finish, the attention to detail, and the ease of adjustability, this guitar has been fantastic. Now, before we move on to discussing the other features of this instrument, I want to take a moment to just talk about the things that make this guitar unique overall, at least to me. But before we get to the tone demo, I want to introduce you to today's algorithm. It's from the song Let It Be by the Beatles, and it's that part right before the Let It Be line, dot, 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 let it be. We can take that rhythm and put it somewhere else. How about a funk kind of a thing? That's today's algorithm for the algorithm. Like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate it. Thought that was going to be a lot cooler. Now, I'm someone who really, really loves the tone of a Les Paul style guitar. I just think that having the three-way switch along with the four knobs gives you amazing versatility, especially when you have the knob in the middle position and you can blend the different volumes and tones to your taste for each pickup. We get amazing sounds from that type of a setup. The issue that I personally have with pretty much all Les Paul style guitars is that they're usually pretty heavy. I personally like my guitars 7 pounds, around that 7-pound range or lower. Some of my guitars are as low as 4.5 pounds. So I like a lightweight guitar, number one. And number two, I don't like the feel of a single cut instrument because of just the way that this wood contacts the body. I don't have an easy time getting my hand up here. Long story short, I love the sound and tone of a Les Paul style guitar, but I just don't like the way that a Les Paul feels on my body, especially with all of the weight. With that in mind, this instrument for me is honestly a revelation. I've never played a guitar like this before, and I've never played this guitar before this series. So the beautiful thing about the McCarty line is that you have 3 different choices. So if you are someone who actually loves that single cut design, you can get this guitar in a single cut model, and because it's a single cut, it's going to be much heavier. But if you're someone like me and you like a lighter guitar, you get the double cut design, and it also looks, in my opinion, a lot cooler. So in terms of where this guitar sits in the guitar world, it kind of has the comfort of a Strat, but it has the amazing tonal variety and thickness and warmth of a Les Paul style guitar, except it's also lightweight. So I really love that about this particular instrument. And the one other thing that is quite unique about this guitar that you're going to hear in the pickup section is that we have a 24.594 inch scale length. So the scale length is actually less than the traditional Gibson scale length, which is really, really interesting, and here's why. If you ever play a Strat style guitar with a 25.5 inch scale length, it has a specific neck pickup tone in particular. It sounds lovely, but when you go to a 25 inch scale length, it tends to sound a little bit warmer in the neck pickup. Well, it just so happens that, in my opinion, when you go even less than 25, it makes the tone slightly warm. Then we also get the strings a little bit more slinky. So this guitar has this really unique vibe to it, whereby I have 10 to 46, but they're easy to play, and the neck pickup is really, really soulful and singing on its instrument, in addition to the tone on the bridge pickup. I think the scale length is really contributing to both the comfort of the neck and also the overall tone of the instrument. PRS may not be the best brand for me to dissect objectively because I just love humbucker tones. So to be honest, I love the way these humbuckers sound. I love the way all the other humbuckers sound as well. But the one thing I will say about the PRS pickups is that they split really, really well. When you split these pickups, you still get a giant volume and tonal drop off like you do with other humbucking pickups. So if you like split coil sounds, it's going to be hard to find a better pickup than the PRS stuff in general. But me personally, I'm just going to leave them in full humbucking mode pretty much all the time. And I think sometimes people think that you can't get like a funky tone with humbuckers, but if you combine two humbuckers and you don't split the coils, you're still going to get plenty funk and nasality from the tone. And if it's just too much total volume and heft, just drop the volume down a bit, and that'll kind of thin it out a little bit. And I like that funk tone more than a lot of single coils. But again, use them however you want to use them. All of the options are there for you. Now the bridge pickup by itself on full with a clean tone might be a little bit too much. It's just a lot of weight to it. But when we split that coil, we get a very beautiful clean tone. So remember, the whole reason we're doing the SE experiment is to try to find the least amount of guitars necessary to cover a wide range of style and musical influences. And if you're a guitarist who has a wide array of influences, you're going to want to check out my best-selling Teach Yourself course, link below. I also did a podcast and a newsletter, all with tips about how to teach yourself guitar, totally free. I'll link that below as well. So let's talk about the body of this instrument. And this is actually really, really interesting to me. So when I did the live unboxing and I showed this top on camera, a few people said to me, okay, PRS did that thing where they send the reviewer the best guitar that they have, and then they promote that best guitar that they have, and then everyone gets a different guitar and it doesn't look as attractive. Well, here's the thing. Yes, this top looks absolutely phenomenal. I'm just gonna be honest, out of all of the PRS guitars that I have so far, this one is the most beautiful in terms of the top. However, if you go on Sweetwater right now and look at the different options they have for this guitar, you'll see that PRS didn't actually send me the prettiest one, because there is one right now on Sweetwater that is actually, in my opinion, more attractive. So if you do shop for this guitar or really anything else, use my Sweetwater affiliate link below to help out the channel with no additional cost to you. Thanks for calling. All right, thanks. So guys, yes, this top is beautiful, but it is not like they only sent this one to me. These tops are everywhere somehow. Also guys, a lot of people always ask me about the different tools that I use in my videos. So a lot of times when I'm playing with a regular chair instead of a stool, I'll use this kind of a cushion thing to prop the guitar up so that it's at a better angle for me personally. And I also like to use this strap in particular because when you're switching between all these different guitars, it has a locking feature built in that you can quickly jump between guitars with. I'll link all of this stuff below as well with my Sweetwater affiliate link. So yes, flame maple top, mahogany body of course, and we have a beautiful violin carve on the top, which is very comfortable on the right arm. And in addition to the white binding on the neck, we have a wood binding on the rest of the body. And like I said with the neck section, everything on this instrument is pretty much flawless. I can't find anything to critique in terms of the fit and finish and the QC of this particular guitar. So I'm editing the video right now and I'm being serious. As I'm looking at the video and seeing the guitar again, I'm noticing it's even more attractive than I noticed it was before. I know everyone always thinks that I like ugly guitars and that's kind of a joke of this channel, but come on, can anyone honestly think that this guitar isn't gorgeous? Let me know in the comments below. Now, there's something else that we should talk about, and that is the PRS styled bridges. The bridge itself looks beautiful, right? It's zinc, and then we have the brass kind of touches in terms of the color. And as I showed you before, it adjusts very easily. Now, some people are going to say that, oh, it just looks good. There's no functional reason to have the different types of metal on the bridge. I'm not really interested in that debate, to be honest. The bridge works really well. And in my humble opinion, the fact that someone believes that the bridge metal is going to change the tone and goes into that much detail with the selection, even if it doesn't actually matter to you, that tells me that that person building the guitar has a really high attention to detail, which means that the rest of the guitar is also going to have high attention to detail. So that's honestly what I care about most. And like I showed you in the section, the bridge works fantastic. So overall, the first guitar in this series is simply fantastic. I'll say it one more time. The one thing that I would do is change these tuners to locking tuners for my taste. If you don't like locking tuners, that's totally fine for you. But otherwise, the comfort of this guitar, the tones, and frankly, the looks, I mean, this is a lot of instrument for the price that you pay. And I'll just conclude by saying this. A lot of you guys know that I usually prefer an electric guitar with a floating bridge, and that has not changed. But in terms of a fixed bridge, traditional style guitar, to me, the only guitar that I really loved in the past was my VGA GB Wood. The last Les Paul style guitar that I liked, it was my VGA GB Wood. And that guitar is like $5,000, I think, is what it's supposed to be. I got it for $3,800 during the pandemic, but I sold it. But that's like a $5,000 guitar. This guitar's under $1,000. I like these pickups actually better because the VGA GB Wood is a beautiful guitar, but the pickups were too much. They had too much high end and I'd always have to adjust the knobs. Don't get me wrong, I could get an amazing sound out of it, but I had to work to get an amazing sound. Whereas with this guitar, for whatever the reason, I just turn everything on full if I want to, put it on neck pickup, and I just like the tone. And I love this kind of double cut design with single cut tones. So this is definitely my new favorite guitar in this particular category of guitars. By the way, I'm Andre Flood. On my Patreon link below, we're going to go into a little bit of discussion on the solo that I played in this particular song. And my Teach Yourself course is also linked below. Everyone's really enjoying it. I think you'll like it too. I'll talk to you soon.